everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host, Jennifer. I have so much to tell you. So much. I had to make a list. I had to write it down because there's so much I wanted to tell you. First, I'm going to tilt my camera down a little bit. I finally finished writing the pattern for this, and I named it, and I sent it out to testers. This is going to be Cinnamon Stitches Beach Cardi. It is going to be available in my Etsy shop. Not right now. Don't run to my Etsy shop. It is going to be in the Etsy shop as soon as it is back from testers to make sure it is well written and not have any drastic mistakes. I always give feedback that there's a mistake. So that's why I send it to testers. And I have some really amazing testers that are testing it out for me. So when that gets done, I'm going to have a big shout out for them. Anyway, the Beach Cardi, when it is back from testers, hopefully you will see it in shop soon. Well, in my Etsy shop. And I'm all over the place. See, I got so much on my mind. My brain is going blah, 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 blah. This one is the one I made for my daughter. It is way far away from me. It's a size extra large. Mine was a size 3/4X. And I made it with, hang on, let me grab it. Because I got another one over here. I made it, this one, with the Premier Home Cotton, the Big Marl, and the color Nursery, I think. Yeah, Nursery. So that is what that one is made out of. I don't think Premier has any more in this colorway on its website. I could be wrong, but I don't think they have any more in this colorway. Just because this was clearanced out, a bag of 3 for $5. And so I think they're out of this color. But they have lots of colors on their website, including they have some of these with glitter in them. In the colors blue, red, green, white, black, and cream. And there has glitter stream through it. I actually have some of those up here. Let's see if I can get you a little sneak peek. The red and the green and the white are in there. Total glitter. But I don't want to pull them out of my plastic. But this size extra large took one of these. This is 545 yards. Mine, which was the 3 or 4X, I used the Rodeo yarn, which is also on sale on the Premier's website. So if you want to go over there and check the prices now, I think this is like $8. Not this colorway, but this size skein is like $8. The Rodeo is like a bag of 3 for $8. And I used 5 Rodeo for mine, which was 3/4X. So if you want to pre-order your yarn in preparation for the thing. Also, one of my testers is using Karen cotton cakes, from what she said. And these are, how many yards are these? 530 yards. So one of these might get you on those two. How pretty would that be? So lots of options, guys. And it doesn't have to be cotton, but because it's for beach, I prefer cotton because cotton kind of absorbs and wicks away the extra water from your bikini if you're going to wear a bikini. But that looks also really cute with a pair of jeans, jean shorts. That's why we called it the Beach Cardi, because it's a cardigan. You can wear it at the beach. You can wear it at the pool. You can wear it in your backyard over your bikini, fat bikini, whatever you want to call it. But that's, I'm so relieved that the pattern is written and sent off, because honestly, it is terrifying to send it off to someone else, to have them try it out, and you hope to God it's good enough. And the same thing is when I put in the Etsy stores. That's why I'm so grateful for the testers, especially testers that I know are going to give me an honest feedback and that are going to be, you know, straight up with me like, hey, this needs work. You need to fix this here, fix this there. Because I don't want to make myself look stupid, because I'm not, by any stretch of the imagination, a pattern writer. I'm not. But I work really hard to make the pattern readable so that it's as if I'm explaining it to you in a video. And I put lots of pictures in there so that it is completely explainable, I hope. So even if you can't read a pattern, I am almost positive you'll be able to follow the pattern that I've written, because it's not so much pattern abbreviations as it is written instructions. So I hope it's easy enough for everyone to understand. That is my goal. Now that we got the business part out of the way, I have a story to share with you, something that happened today, and then I have some news to tell you of something that I learned to do, which is really awesome. Okay. My niece is here for the weekend. So my husband and I took the 3 kids and went and sat down in a restaurant to eat for the first time since all of this pandemic has started. It has been months. We have gotten takeout from restaurants because we really believe in still supporting the economy around us, because we don't want the economy to crash, especially some of our favorite restaurants. We don't want our favorite restaurants to disappear because they can't have people come in and sit down. So I have no problem with ordering delivery service or going and picking up food. And my favorite Mexican restaurant has been like the #1, because I don't want them to go nowhere. They are like, they're really good people, and like that would just be terrible. Anyway, so we went and we sat down, and it was just pizza, but it was like fire oven pizza. It was not like Domino's and none of that crap, or Little Caesars, or it was not like, it's like fire roasted, like fresh dough, like it's authentic style pizza. Okay, it's good. It's the only pizza I actually like, because I hate pizza, because it tastes more like I don't know, it's just good. It's not like box pizza. Anyway, it kind of reminds me of like Napoli style pizza, you know. Anyway, so we're driving home, and we were in the center lane of a really busy road that we live by. And I scream at Mr. Cinnamon. I was like, fire, fire. And I always look at this restaurant as we go by. I was at another restaurant. The restaurant, the front bushes and the mulch was on fire and flames. And so I screamed at him, like, what do I do? Do I call 911? Do we call the restaurant? And he like hurries up and cuts across traffic to get into the parking lot, whips around the building, and jumps out to run in and let them know, because it's easier and faster to tell them so they can try to get water on it than to wait for the fire department to get through the traffic, you know? And so I'm sitting there, I was like, we had 2 cups of soda that was left over from our lunch. And so I grabbed the 2 cups of soda and I jump out. Now, my daughter noticed 2 girls sitting inside the restaurant. I didn't notice this at the time. They're just laughing hysterically at me. And I don't care. I don't care. But then when Mr. Cinnamon got back in the car and she told us that these girls were laughing, he looked, he's all, there's a big fat man that just ran inside the Mexican restaurant. They probably thought he was coming in there to get tacos. Give me tacos. And then I thought about it. I was like, I probably would be laughing too if a big fat man started running towards a Mexican restaurant. Right, like he stopped the car, jumped out, and ran in. And then a big fat woman jumps out of the passenger side with cups in her hand, right? They probably were like, what the heck is going on? They had no idea that right outside the window, like the bush is on fire. Like, it was crazy. How they didn't see the smoke, I have no idea. Thank God I saw it. I dumped the 2 full ice sodas on the flame enough that the flame stopped, but it was still like smoldering really bad. And just as I did that and the flame went away, the people from inside the Mexican restaurant came out with like a pitcher of water and ice and dumped that on, but it was still smoldering. And they were like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so I like walked away. I was like, I just saved all their lives. I saved the building. Because had we not did that, what would have happened to that restaurant? And connected to that building is like a pawn shop and a barber shop, and Domino's is all in this little tiny building. So I saved a bunch of lives, guys. I'm a firefighter. Anyway, I thought I would share that with you because it was kind of a cool story. Something cool that happened today. All right. Now we're going to move on to the news. Now, you know, the name of this channel is Cinnamon Stitches Crochet. The reason it's Cinnamon Stitches Crochet is because Cinnamon Stitches was already taken. I don't know who Cinnamon Stitches is because they don't have content. So I put crochet on the end. But I might have to change it because I learned how to knit. Okay. I have been struggling. I have been fighting, trying to learn to knit for over a year now. Like, I have been trying and trying. Let me show you. I bought, let's see if I have any down here. I bought needles. I can't reach them. I bought not crochet needles. I bought knitting needles at the dollar store. I found Red Heart knitting needles, like the circulars, at, they're not up there either, at the Dollar Tree like a year ago. And I also found some regular long knitting needles at the thrift store like 2 years ago. And I was like, I'm going to learn how to knit. And I have tried. And I have tried. And I have failed. And I did really good. I almost had a whole cowl made. And then I realized I dropped some stitches and I frogged the whole thing. So I have never finished anything in knit. Because I just could not, my brain, I could not wrap it around what I was supposed to do and how I'm supposed to hold the yarn. And it just was like I was watching an alien language in these videos. My brain just could not at all. And I tried and I tried and I tried. And I'm like, you know what? I recommended my niece, who's trying to learn to crochet, to make a washcloth. Because she can make it as big or as little as she wants. And it's something easy that she can finish. And then she can use it and be proud of it. And so I started with that. And then I was like, stupid. Why aren't you trying to knit a washcloth? You just gave the same advice to someone else. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to pull out some of my favorite cotton. So I pulled out my cotton. This is the scented cotton by Sugars and Cream or something or another. I just like it because it smells like Irish Springs, the soap. I just love the way it smells. It reminds me when I was a little girl, my dad used to come out of the bathroom. He would we didn't have a shower because we couldn't afford to have one installed. We just had this big giant iron bathtub. He would go in there and he would soak in it for like an hour and he'd come out and he would just smell like Irish Springs. And I don't particularly like that smell, but because I miss my dad, Anyway. Look at it is completely finished. I knit an entire washcloth. I was so excited. I was so excited. I was telling my daughter, I was like, I knit something. That's not perfect, but let's flip it around. Because look, that's the bind off. Isn't that beautiful? Cast on is a little bit loose, but at least it's not too tight. Because in the past, my cast on has been super tight and I haven't been able to make a second row. And I would get so frustrated with that. So I figured out how to loosen up the cast on. My bind off is like almost perfect and so pretty, right? I'm so excited, so excited. Anyway, so I was showing Mr. Cinnamon, I was showing my daughter, and they were like, yeah, cool. Because to them, it's just crochet, with needles. They don't understand like how much I struggled. So I emailed the one person that I know who would be proud of me because she actually did help me. I emailed Granny D. From Knit, Purl, and Squirrel with Granny D. Now, she gave me the reaction I wanted. She said she was proud of me and I did a good job. We keep going. I messaged her and I told her, because I have watched a lot of knitting videos, like a lot of knitting videos on how to, and I could not get it. Even Jada and Stitches, because the way she holds the yarn, it was just so confusing to me. And I couldn't get it. And I watched Granny D and I was like, things started to click with the way she was doing it. And this was like 6 months ago. I watched these videos and I started to make this. This was supposed to be a cowl, but I was getting so frustrated with how slow it was going and how much I was struggling with where to hold the yarn and how to hold the needles. I put it away and it's been in a project bag for 6 months at least. And so when I finished this night, I was like, Granny D, Granny D. And I had to show Granny D. Now let me tell you about Granny D, okay? Because I am a fan of hers, and I have been because she basically was like one of my first 25 subscribers on this channel. And she, before she got her channel, was just D Thompson. And she posted and commented and watched every single video I released with encouragement and love. And I I never have forgot that. And I miss her commenting on all my videos. She still will pop by from time to time, but she's busy with her own channel, doing her own thing, and she is doing fantastic, can I tell you? But to me, like, she's one of my first friends here, and so I will always love her and be grateful for her for that. And now for her encouragement with this, because this and her love and encouragement helped me to make this one, which is like way bigger. Way bigger. But, and this is probably too big for a washcloth, but I think it's beautiful. And this might be like a hand towel or something for like wiping up stuff. I don't know though, because I'm so proud that I knit something. I might not use these, because I know Mr. Cinnamon was like, well, give me that. I'll go use it right now. You ain't using this. This ain't get framed. This is the first thing I ever knit. He thought it was crazy, but he don't understand. I know you guys do. You guys get it. But look. It's super. I love that it's so stretchy and like, I don't know. It's just cool. Crochet don't do that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to convert to just knitting. Crochet is my first love, but I really, really had so much fun with this. So then I was like, all right, well, I made 2 washcloths. I am pulling that cowl out. It is going to get finished. Now, it was maybe this long. It was maybe that long, and it was on the needles, and it was in the closet because I couldn't stand to look at it. It's been there in punishment. So I pulled it out. I'm like, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to finish it. And I really like the way the color pattern came out. This is Premier. I should have brought the dang ball in here. It is Premier Spirit Stripes, but it used to be Universal Spirit Stripes. And then I got the, or maybe it flip-flopped. But I have Universal Spirit Stripes, and then I also have Premier Spirit Stripes. It's the same yarn. This yarn. Now I know why I was so frustrated. This don't split. This stuff crochets beautifully, but it splits when it knits. Like, a lot. And being a beginner and just learning, I did not know how to fix the split. Or I was so afraid I was going to lose all my loops off my needles. And so I'd get super frustrated. And that's why I was in the closet. But, you guys, first I'm going to show you that I finished it. And then I'm going to show you what's really cool about it. Okay. I finished the cowl. And yes, I could have made it bigger. But I wanted to say that it was finished. So I stopped it close to my neck. But it's super stretchy. So this will be like when it's a little bit chilly out and I need something warm on my neck. Isn't that cool? And it's so, so stretchy. I just love the way the self-striping turned in, like the way it pulled. But I got almost to where it fit around my head, and I was like, well, I'm going to close it soon. And then I'm like, I was really, really sick to my stomach, so I went to lay down upstairs. And I think that has to do with the dental issues and just a whole bunch of stuff, like the medicine. I was so sick to my stomach. I went to lay down. I didn't want to hear anybody. I didn't want to see nobody. So I turned on videos because my goal to learn to knit is I want it to look like knit, not necessarily like the bumpy knit, but like the, you know, the actual loops that stack on top of each other. And I didn't understand why my knit wasn't doing that when I first started. And that was another thing that was frustrating me when I was working on this. So I've been doing a lot of researching, reading, looking stuff up. And I did realize from Granny D, actually, I think it was one of her videos, that she said in order to get the knitting to line up like loops like that, you have to do a row of knit and a row of purls. So for months now, I've been trying to figure out how to purl and watching videos, and like, I don't want to offend anybody that has dyslexia, but it's the only way that I can describe the way my brain was scrambling the information that I was getting is to compare it to dyslexia. And I do have experience with people with dyslexia, so that's the only way that I can like explain it myself, is that the information was going in and getting scrambled, and it was making no sense, and it was complete and utter nonsense to my brain. And so I couldn't even figure out, like, I'm already struggling with how to hold the needles and where to put because as a crocheter, my yarn goes in this hand, my hook goes in this hand. But knitting is not like that. But I figured out how to hold my yarn in this hand still and hold my needles exactly the way I hold my yarn in crochet. And that is what is working for me. And maybe in the future, I will do a video just to show you how I knit and to record it for my own safety in case I forget what I did in the future, you know. So I have a recording so I can go back and go, oh, that's how I did it, you know. Anyway, so I went back and I was watching purling videos. And I was like, again, one after the other, I could not understand. My brain could not understand the upside down or the backwardness of a purl versus a knit stitch. Now, if you're not a knitter, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, because 2 days ago, I wouldn't have had a clue what I was talking about. Anyway, so I decided, since I'm almost done with this thing, I'm going to try to work a row of purl, and if I mess up, I mess up. You see the difference between the bumpy and the way the stitches stack on top of each other like that? This is what I wanted to make something out of, is like this. I just think that just is gorgeous, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. So there's a little tiny patch that is that knit row, purl row. The rest of this is just knit, like straight knit. And then I did a purl row, knit row, purl row, knit row. And now I finally understand. And I'm still learning, like, how to tell if your last row was knit or purl. And the way to do that is to check where the bump row is. But I'm not an authority to explain that at all, because I barely understand it, and I'm not sure I understand it fully yet. But I'm working on it. And I think I'm going to work really hard on my knitting over the next 2 weeks. So we may be a knitting channel for a couple days. But that's okay. That's okay. Because if anything, if any goal of my channel is to encourage you guys to think outside of the box, think outside of the pattern, think outside of the crochet books, the knit books, I want you to think inside your own imagination, which is limitless. I want you to keep trying, keep learning, keep doing. That is my goal. That is my goal. And it's okay. It's okay to mess up. For example, this is not square, and I wanted it to be. But that's okay. Because I did it and I finished it. I ran out of yarn, but it's done. And this one is like perfect. A perfect square. Perfect square. I'm so happy that I'm so happy that I figured it out. I'm so happy. Yeah. And you see what's cool is, like, when you do just the knit stitch, it like was doing like it was argyle thing. But then when you moved to whatever this is, the knit row, purl row, it self-striped itself. And then it started to, I don't know what it was doing down here, but I do know, though, I'm going to have to work on tension with the purling, because when I start to purl, it gets really, really tight. And so I need to figure out how to do that so it's not so tight and pulling. Because you guys can see there's a... It's the same amount of stitches. It just curled because it was so tight. It curled a lot. So something I need to learn how to do. But I was so excited about that. I could not believe. I still cannot believe it. I knit something and I finished it. So that's all I have to tell you guys. Yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I hope you do something fun. I hope you learn something new. I don't know. I just hope you have a good time. All right? I will see you guys Monday. I'm going to do a little yarn porn Monday. And that's all. Bye, guys.